Hi everyone, I'm Karen Combs and it's August 2nd, 2025 and this is FlossTube 50. I can't believe it. Anyway, I want to welcome you. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, thank you so much. Just thank you. And I want to thank you. The last video I mentioned about our sweet Benji passing, and I've had so many wonderful comments, cards, notes, comments on Instagram. Several people made donations to their local animal shelters in Benji's name. Oh, thank you. Means a lot. It's been 8 weeks since he passed. It's still hard, but stitching has helped. And thank you again for all your wonderful support. Well, I'm going to jump right in. I had some questions from last time. I'm going to jump into that, and then I'll show you what I've been working on. So last time I had a little vignette in FlossTube 49. I changed it up, the one behind me, and I had a little vignette with a red sampler. I can't even remember what I put there, but some things around the sewing room, just to change it up a little bit. I had questions about what was the sampler I had. It is Americana Red by October House, and I did change it. So I'm going to show you the chart, well, the cover, and then I will show you what I did. I left off the alphabet. I changed the bottom, I changed the side. Let me look, can't remember what else. I know those for sure. And I used licorice red on, I don't have it in front of me, but I think it was De Bloom. 36 count, I believe. So here it is. Let me stand up and hold it. Now I'll hold it back because it's not showing as vivid. But you can see, there we go. I changed the side, changed the bottom. Did not change the barn, but that's more of what the color is. So there's a good look at it. And I'll hold up the chart again, the cover, so you can see it. I think there's an Americana blue now as well. So I put that in the comments last time, but I did want to share that because I had several questions. That's always a question. Where am I going to put it? I usually end up throwing it on the floor, and then I need it. So it's on the floor. I had a question also about what kind of magnification do I use, and I think I'm going to do a video about my setup coming up, but what I use, because I sit at a table to stitch, and I know some of you sit in a recliner or the couch and have a magnifier in front of you with a light. My setup doesn't lend itself for that. So what I use, I buy them from Amazon, higher powered readers. They usually come in a box like this, or a box like this, and sometimes you'll get 2 or 3, sometimes you'll get as many as 6 in a package. They usually all come with a case. Sometimes it's a case like that, sometimes it's a case like this. I leave the sticker on because that helps me see. Like, these are some 4s that I use if I'm doing something. Now, again, that's going to vary. You're going 4? Well, it'll depend on your eyes. So I started with a 3 and just kind of worked up. So I just leave the sticker on. I know I was working one day and my husband said, you know, you have the sticker on your glasses. I said, yeah, that's so I know what it is and it doesn't really bother me. I'm sure they're written on the side, but I don't know. I just left the sticker on because I also didn't want to scratch it. So, but anyway, that's what I would do, is order some from Amazon, try them. And what some friends and I did is, especially the boxes where 5 or 6 came in a box, or multiples, is we just split them. We just split the cost. And they aren't going to last forever. They last quite a while, but what usually happens is it breaks somewhere in the frame. So it's not a bad thing to have multiples. These are the ones I'm using right now on some of that really higher count linen, but they're just half readers that I can look over and see the TV. They look like that. So that's what I use. And occasionally, yeah, where am I going to put this? Occasionally, I will also use the magnifier on my halo, which is has a light. Especially if I'm doing a higher count one-on-one, I'll just position it so for that little bit I have. With the readers, I have this, or sometimes I'll use the readers with, if you can see, there is a little spot for even a higher power there. So, combination, but 95% of the time, I am just using readers. All right, let me set these down. It's like, yeah, where's all this stuff going? I usually have something over here, and I haven't planned that very well. Hate to drop the glasses on the floor, but I'm going to. All right, so those are, ask about that. Wanted to cover those things. I also had a question about when I'm looking at a book, what is it? Well, it's my Book of Days modified, and I've got a video of how I modified it. I'll link to that. But here's my July, which is keep track of when I tape floss tubes, what I start, what I finish, what I worked on each day. That way when I come to talk to you, I can just check my notes and see. I like the stickers. It just makes it fun, and I don't have hardly any stickers for August yet. I need to fix that. But then I also added pages with some stickers, and I'll put my finishes, and I've just used some stickers to sticker it up. And oh look, there's many more starts than finishes. I like this little sticker that I put on there. It says it's time for a fresh start. And yes, it is. Anyway, and just different pages. These are and some of these pages I pulled from another planner I didn't use, and then just I went to Office Max and just had them put the extra pages, and some I supplied, some they did plain. But then I also modified one of the things I already had, one of the planners I wasn't using, and put all my whips starting when I came back to cross stitch. And some I finished, so then I'll just move it over next year, take off the finished ones. But I've been using this for a couple years now. Here's my 24. You know, lots of stickers. Wow, there's a lot of stuff there. But what I like about it is I can go back and look, especially starts, look what I was working on, what I was using. Here I had my finishes and was seeing how many starts versus finishes I had, whips. So anyway, that's my 24, and then same thing. And when you get the, when you have them put the comb binding on, it will come with a cover and a back cover, but there's the printed one. So I didn't use those pages. So it's kind of a work in progress, but I started doing haul, and then I quickly stopped that. I don't want a written record. Here's more starts. So that's from a couple years ago. So anyway, that's what that is, modified. I know some of you enjoy doing a planner and some of you don't, and however you find is comfortable for you to work. I just find I keep this right open on my desk and write down what I'm working on, or notes, or when I did a FlossTube, or, you know, if I went on a retreat, or just different things, just to keep track. And so anyway, that's the book that I'm using, and I'll probably buy the one for next year, have some extra pages added to have the comb binding on, sticker it up, just because it's fun. No. So that's what the book is, and I'll put that link in there as well. All right, let's look at, oh, before I do that, I was going to show you what I was working on, but I wanted to mention two things coming up. And then I do have something else from last time. Let me just show you that, and then we'll go into, where did I put it? There it is. Some things coming up. I haven't started this yet, but I did ask those of you watching, James and the Giant Pear, that's what I call it. It's Rose and the Giant, James and the Giant Peach. It's Rose and the Giant Pear. Anyway, many of you have done it. It's beautiful. When I saw the sample or the actual sampler at the attic, it's tiny. So I was asking those of you that have done it on 56 count, can you use DMC? Because I have, did I have the DMC? No, I thought I did. I do have a piece of Tabby Cat 40 count creme brulee that actually came with Sarah Milthrop, which is right up there, which I changed the linen. But I thought this might be fun for that, especially thinking right up in here. But it's 40 count, and I'm thinking about doing it on 46 or 56. And I have the Veriswa all packaged, which is for the 40 count, but I was thinking how to switch it. So I asked about who has done DMC on 56 count. Mixed reviews. Some of you have done it, love it, it's great. Narissa of Narissa's Stitching Lifestyle, which I'll put a link to her FlossTube, which is fantastic. Sorry for the crinkling, let me get it in there. She uses DMC on 56 count as well, and Virginia mentioned that to me, so I appreciate that. Some people mentioned, yes, they did use it, it worked okay, but it wasn't their favorite. So I think it's just going to be personal choice. But I did have Terry mention that there is a thread pack. Amy Mitten has a thread pack for this, and I'm thinking I'm going to order that. So it's for, she has other thread packs, but I didn't know she had thread packs on her website. So I'm gonna have to check that out, and I'll put the link. I'll put a note to put the link there too. But for those of you, you're thinking, Amy Mitten, it's Fibers to Die For, and she wrote this amazing booklet, Autopsy of the Montenegrin Stitch, which I used this book greatly working on, was it Dorcas? And I'm just, it shows you if you're going this way, up, over. I mean, I'm just going to show you. I mean, every page, it's fantastic. It shows you for whatever you're doing. It's a wonderful booklet. Let's see. And then there's something in here if you want to do a little chart of your own to practice. But there's 111 pages. So I'm going to hold this up because you can find that online to order. But Fibers to Die For, she also has thread packs. So I'm thinking of getting that for the Rose and the Giant Pear. And Virginia mentioned she did hers on Mason linen, which is difficult to get, but I do have some. So anyway, I'm going to look at that. I don't intend on starting this soon, but I would like to get settled on the linen and get the floss or silk that I want to use. So I wanted to mention that. So some things coming up. There is going to be, well, let me back up. I went to the virtual event with Lindy Stitches, and now I can't remember what it was called. Midsummer Night's Dream? Midsummer something. Anyway, it was a virtual event a couple of weeks ago. I enjoyed that so much. I didn't go into the stitching rooms. I chickened out. I know. I might do that next time. But they're having another one, Harvest Moon Hangout. So I'll put the link for that. It was just fun. And there are classes you can take if you would like. And it's all done from your home. I just set my iPad up, and there were conversation with FlossTubers, designers. I just enjoyed it. It was good. So I'm going to do the next one. And if you don't take any classes, it's $15 for the event. And the last one, I think, was Saturday and Sunday. Harvest Moon Hangout is Friday night, Saturday and Sunday. So it was just fun. And if you have attended and have gone to the stitching tables, which basically it's a Zoom room. You go in, you can have your camera on, you don't have to, and just sit and chat. So let me know your favorite thing about that, and I might pop in some of the stitching rooms. Also, coming up next June, there is Threadworxs Fair, which reminds me greatly in the setup of a quilt show. Now, a quilt show, and I taught at many over the years that I was traveling and teaching. With a quilt show, you had the quilt show itself. Usually you had vendors ringing it, so it would be in a big room, sometimes multiple rooms, but there would be the quilts and then the vendors surrounding it. There'd also be often a separate vendors mall. There were classes. You could just attend the show and go to the vendors if you wanted, or you could take a class. So the Threadworxs Fair coming up. It's in New Harmony, Indiana, which is very close to Evansville. It reminds me of a quilt show because they're going to have exhibits of cross stitch or stitching. Now, in a quilt show, you enter the quilt, and some of them are juried, some of them are not. Same thing with this. You enter, and the website that I'm going to link to will have the information if you would like to enter. And there's a form you fill out, and then I'm not sure the details. You can either drop it off or send it. I'm not sure how that works. I'm thinking of, I'm going to go, and I'm thinking of putting a couple of my things in there just for fun, because I'm going to enjoy seeing other people's works. There are classes. Those just opened yesterday. I signed up for the garden walking tour. That sounds wonderful. And I'm looking at the classes. The project pictures are coming along, so you can see those. And it will be smaller numbers. It's like a quilt show where when I was teaching, we'd have most of the time 24 or 25, depending on the table space, because you had sewing machines and all of that. So I'm guessing it's going to be similar. I'm not sure. I'm sure that's up to the venue and each individual teacher, and you do sign up with the teacher, so all the information is there. Or you can just go and attend, and I don't think there's a cost to just go and look at the stitching. And it looks like it's a beautiful historic town. I'm looking forward to it. There's a hotel or an inn there, but Evansville, is it Evansville or Evanston? I think it's Evansville. It's not very far. So there'll be plenty of hotels there if the other one fills up. But I thought I'm gonna go for a couple of days and just enjoy the little town, enjoy the stitching. They're gonna have places in town where you can sit and stitch with friends. So it just sounds wonderful, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I wanted to mention that to you as well. All of these things I will have links to in the description where you can just click and then go look at more information. All right, let me show you what I've been working on. I think we're got that done. This stuff I haven't shown you yet. Okay, let's look at what I've been working on. I did work on Seasons in the Garden, Jeanette Douglas. I did work on that. What I have left to do is the rest of the water, this and this, which remind me of quilts. I have that to do. And it is on 36 count Moonstone. I did purchase the kit and the silk pack. I am not happy with my water. I'll just tell you that right now, and I'm deciding whether to redo it or just leave it because it's water that a rock has been thrown in and it's all over. That's what we're going with. No, I started this like 2 days after we lost Benji, and it was a wonderful diversion, and I may just leave it as it is. I haven't decided. Let me hold it up. So this is in 4 parts. Let me just do this. 4 parts. The fall one is coming soon. So there it is. And so it does have specialty stitches. A lot of the variation you see is the thread, which is fun. So there it is. So I'm enjoying that. So I worked on that and then got discouraged with myself on the water, and then just thought, you know what, just put it aside for a minute and then you can go back to it and decide what you want to do. And often, oh, dumped my water over. That's why my water has a sippy cup. Now, big sippy cup has a top on it, so when I do that, in fact, I'm going to take a drink of it. If it dumps over, and it just dumped over right on one of my pieces in the silk. Okay. So I did work on that. I also told you, when I showed you last time, that I was going to set aside Quaker Virtues and work on it. And I did. I worked on it for a full week. Now, I was inspired to do this by the model I saw at the attic when I was there in April. And Instagram Stitchwitch, I'm going to put her link. That was her work there that she had, and it's on 28 count. Now hers I think was 25, but it might have been 28. I'm doing it on 28 count heavy cream Lugana by Kitten Stitcher. Over 1. And the model in the attic was over 1. So here it is. I'll go up closer, but I want to show you what I'm using. I am using a variety of silk, and my main color is Olive Grove. I always want to say Olive Garden. It's Olive Grove by Karen Water Lilies. It's variegated. And then what I did, and I mentioned this last time, and several of you said you appreciated that little tip. When I would pull fabrics for quilting, I would sometimes start with something multicolored and then pull colors from that. So I'm doing the same thing here. Here are my colors, and then I pulled light and dark colors from this. So if there's a blue, you'll notice there's light, medium, dark blue. Same thing with the green. And what I plan, or what I'm doing, is most of it is stitched in the variegated Olive Grove, but then you'll get these occasionally. You'll have a small motif that I'm doing in one of the plainer colors, or solid, I should say, not plain. I am so pleased with this, and I got quite a bit done. So that's the true color. Let me come up so you can see it. And as I mentioned before, I really do like working on Lugana over 1. I love the quilt star there, the variegated variable star on point. So that's where it is. I worked on that for a week, off and on. So I was very pleased with how that is looking. And the variegated threads, I used to do this in my quilting too. I would take a batik that has variations of color in it and use it here and there so it looked like I pieced more than I did. And it's the same thing here. It looks like I've changed flosses, but I haven't. So I'm letting just like with the fabric doing the work, I'm letting the floss do the work. And that is housed in one of my Stitchwitch bags. And I have several projects in a bag. So I've just put these little tags on there so I know what's what. What else is in here? Let's see. Oh, Coffee Quaker, I'll show you. I haven't worked on it, but I'll show you where I'm at. And Anne Hunt, I haven't worked on that yet, but I did make some big changes. Oh my goodness, look at all the colors there. Ooh, I need to get back to that. That's gorgeous. All right, let me show you that. All right, I'm gonna put this one down so it can be picked back up because I'm not going down there to get it. My husband and I would joke, probably it's not funny now, but maybe 15 years ago, I said, you know, I know we're getting older. And he said, yeah. I said, because when we drop something on the floor, we both stop and look at it and see if it's worth bending down to get it. And if it's food, we go to the dog, you know, hey, come get this. So I looked at that one, yeah, and I'm picking that up. So here's the work I've done so far on Coffee Quaker. Let me hold that pattern up again. So I'm using called for there. I think I did switch one of the light colors because what was called for was too light on my linen. So I don't know what linen it is because I didn't pull that because I haven't information because I haven't worked on it. An Anne Hunt I'm doing on 32 count. Let me hold her up again. 32 count vintage light exemplar over 1. Same thing. There goes some stuff on the floor. I'm using some of these variegated threads and then pulling the colors. Oh, is that gorgeous? Isn't that beautiful? Now this is available now. I got it at the 2023 Sampler Symposium, and it was kitted with the gold 103. I think it's still in here. Is it? No, I think I moved it. But when I saw it, I thought I'm going to do it with color, not the gold. So I'll show you what I picked originally. And then I, of course, changed it. I think it was these. I think those were the ones like fallish colors that I thought I'm going to do it in that. And then I decided to add my bridge color and some more colors with it. Similar to what I'm doing on Quaker Virtues. So this is what I have done so far. That's the true color. Let me go up here. And I'm still using my readers for this. So I'm not using the magnifier. So I haven't worked anymore on this, but since it was in the project bag, I thought you would like to see it. All right, let me. The only problem with a big floss drop is it clanks. Like that. Sorry. I had to take that off of there. All right. I worked quite a bit on this as well. Just going to apologize ahead of time for all the crinkling. But I do want to take it out of the bag. No, I'm just going to try, see if I can. Yeah, that works. Come into my garden, Blackboard. And I did change the linen. I had a question if the flosses are called for. They are. I decided to do it on 40 count wood smoke. And I want to show you what I just did before I show you. What I just did, added to my floss. Here's my ring with the flosses. Oh, they are a mess. Really? Let's just twist them so they don't look quite so bad. I'm working on them. So I did, sometimes I will put the cover on one of the Kraft Tags, you know, a miniature version. This one I got lazy and I just put that. But I am making sure I'm putting what it is on my ring so I don't misplace it and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, what's that go to? So these I got from Amazon. The Kraft Tag I got from Amazon. This is what I've added. So instead of trying to keep up with this, I added a floss tag where I wrote down what I'm working on, and then I copied the thread legend, reduced it a little bit so it fit on the tag. So there are the symbols. There are the symbols. So now it's all together. So when I'm using it, everything's right there. What it's on, the symbols, that way, well, I'm using the chart, but if I don't see the symbol handy, it's right there. So, enough of talking about it. Let me show it to you. I finished the border, so now it's attached. Added some more flowers on the border. And I love how these colors look on the wood smoke. Oh, there it is. I'll get closer so you can see it. So these are the called for. And I just adore how they look on this fabric. And there we go. So I did pull that out and work on it. I think after I worked on first the Quaker Virtue for quite a while, then I worked on the summer garden for a few days, and then I pulled this out for a few days. And then just out of the blue, no, I'm gonna keep this right here because I'm gonna show you something about it. Out of the blue, I thought, I'll pull out one of my whips that I haven't pulled out in a while. And I don't know why this one was speaking to me, but it was. So I pulled out Ann Campion, 1845. And this was also given to us at Sampler Symposium in 2023. And it's on Tabby Cat. Wood smoke. That's why I pulled this out to show you. This is on 40 count wood smoke. This is 40 count wood smoke. And you're going to see Ann Campion, which is going to look totally different. But the called for are 103. The black is the 774. These are, and there's just a tiny bit of pink and a tiny bit of cream. Most of it's the black. Well, I decided that I was going to use the Painter's Thread Waterhouse. This is like magic because it looks, up close it looks green, but it's really a gray green that looks black. It's like magic. And see the variation? So that comes out in the thread. It's magic. It's magic. I'll just show you. I love how it looks. This has some over one, which I need to order the Swasserfine in this or separate the plies. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. Or do Continental. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. Right in here, some over one. I adore how clean and crisp this looks. I'm holding it back because that is really the color. See, it washes out a little bit because I do have a big box light right here. So it does wash out a little bit. But look at how crisp that is. Yeah, see, as I go back, the color changes to more true. Interesting, that's wood smoke. And this is wood smoke. As you know, different in dye lot, different in conditions. How am I going to do this? That is one reason I do have a stash of linen, because, especially the hand dyed, because I like to see it in person, because this is gorgeous. This is wood smoke. This is gorgeous. This is wood smoke. So I've been known to order things, get it, and go, not what I thought, and that's all right. I just put it aside because I know I'll use it for something else. So I don't have that much left on Anne. I've got the rest of that band, which are the hearts, and then the over one, another band, and the animals in the bottom. I don't know, I'm over half done. But I don't know, I just felt like working on it, and I pulled it out, and I worked on it for several days. Let me set this aside. I do really enjoy using this painter's thread. I know several places are carrying it. You can also get it from Thread Nuts. Let me put a link to that. Let me make a note. Beautiful. I'm looking forward to using some more of those colors. But the Waterhouse, when you first get it, you're going to go, oh, that's not black. And it's not. But it looks like it is. Looks like a very, like a charcoal black. It's just really fun. All right, hopefully I'm done with this because it's dropping, it's going down. Some of you commented you liked the video last time of me showing the chaos after. It took me a while to clean it up, but it also takes a while to process the video, so I just usually clean up while the video is processing. All right, so I have a little bit of haul. Let me show you the last thing I'm working on that I worked on. And then I'll show you a little bit of haul. Mary Carter, been working on her. I started her in June. And I've mentioned the Facebook group, Our Sampler Years before. And on Monday, we have Monday with Mary. And Mary Carter's going to be the next one that's coming up that Krista's going to be working on. You don't have to work on a Mary when you sit and watch, and you can type something in the chat that she will then respond to and answer. So it's just very pleasant. I just have my iPad set up and I'm stitching and watching and listening. You can work on a Mary. You don't have to work on a Mary. You can work on what she is. You don't have to, but I decided this was in my to-do list, Mary Carter. And I started it in June because I know this fall is going to be really busy. So I wanted to get a head start. And I think Krista's going to be starting that in a couple of weeks. But it only has 8 colors. These are the 8 colors. So the first thing I did was pull DMC. You'll see in a minute why some are on tags already. And then I decided, and I bought the DMC because several of them need 4 skeins because there's a padded satin stitch in a couple things. And then I decided, no, I'm going to do my own conversion. So I did pull a couple of the 103, but then I also pulled the Vicki Clayton. I went online and ordered, looked at the conversion chart and ordered. And I do have multiple skeins of this. This is just for what I'm working on. So yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Those are the colors. Let me see. Those are the colors. There's a lot of stitching in this. Now I'm going to show you, this is a project bag my friend Bridget made. I just love this Bridget. I'm using the project bag. It's got William Morris fabric, just love it. So here's my extra flosses of DMC. As you can tell, I love these little wire rings. Keeps it all together. Here's my, those are some colors I tried and didn't like. And these were the ones that were closer. I think that's what I've got in here. Where's, oh yeah, these go in here too. So here's all my additional flosses. Oh, I like that blue though. I've got it and I think it's too dark, so. All right. Have I shown you everything? I think so. I did put it, I told you last time I purchased a Millennium Frame. I actually purchased several rods with the sides because I'm going to use it for the Katie Strachan class is coming up. But here it is in the Millennium Frame, came quickly. I was very happy. So here's Mary Carter. I am doing her on 40 count Lakeside vintage cedar plank. So yeah, that's, these words took forever. Now I'm going to go up close. There's eyelet. I added those in. And these are done in the silks. And then I've started on the band. And last night I was working on the satin stitch. And the satin stitch is padded. So you're going to use twice the amount of thread. Now, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, and I'm sure some of you are, I don't know what people are going to think. Let me tell you a little story. When I first started quilting, I only took one class, and that was back in the early 80s, before we had rotary cutters, which was good because I learned how to draft patterns, how to cut them out before rotary cutting tools, which I use and all my classes used, but I learned without it, which was a good foundation. Now the rotary tools made it more accurate and quicker. But I'm glad I had that foundation of no rotary tools because now like I said, I have that knowledge, that foundation. But where I'm getting at is it was a quilt as you go, which meant you worked on the quilt blocks, then you did a row, and then you sandwiched it and hand quilted it, and then you put those sandwiches together. Didn't show on the front, and on the back you used an invisible stitch, so everything just blended in. And I remember asking the teacher, because we were thread basting with a curved needle and cotton thread, we were thread basting our row to put together. And I said, and it was, remember, this was a long time ago and nobody had done this yet. And I said, why can't we use safety pins? Well, you would have think, you know, I said something terrible because everyone went, oh, I'm not kidding. And she goes, oh no, you can't use safety pins. And I'm thinking, why not? You have to do it this way. I'm like, okay, well, I'll learn this way, but I'm using safety pins at home. And of course, now everybody uses safety pins, especially if you're quilting. Now, if you're hand quilting and it's in a big hoop, it can be difficult. There's reasons for thread basting, and that's where that knowledge comes in. You can determine, is this better for safety pins or better for thread basting? Completely your decision. But I'm just saying that because this is the same kind of thing. Why can't I? And so that's what I'm doing. I have all of this DMC that I purchased that's similar in color to the called for. So last night, as I started doing the satin stitch, I thought, why can't I pad it with the DMC? And then I will do the top layer with the silk. Well, that's what I did. So I don't know if that's one of those, she did what? Or it's like, oh, that's brilliant, because now it isn't as costly. And I'll show you again. But here's my thought too. In quilting, when we were hand quilting, we never used a nylon thread. We never used a thread to hand quilt with or piece with that was stronger than the fabric. Meaning if you used a nylon thread and you're using a cotton fabric, well, it's going to start to rub and it's going to eat through over the years that fabric, and it won't last as long. So you're going to use a good quality cotton thread for the piecing and the quilting, because they're the same strength. So I thought about this as I was thinking, can I pad it with the cotton DMC and go over the top with the silk? Well, they're similar weight. Is the cotton stronger? So I'm thinking through this process, is the cotton too strong for the DMC? Well, it's not like a quilt, because it's not going to be used, say, on a bed and actually used and occasionally washed. Even if it's displayed, it could be moved. A lot of people use them on the couch to wrap up in. They're going to be used. The stitching is just going to be displayed. So let me know your thoughts on that. Is it going to be a problem? Because I started, and full disclosure here, the first satin stitch I did, I thought, I've got all this DMC. I'm going to do the red with just all DMC, because DMC has a beautiful shine. And then I switched over to the gold, and I thought, no, I'm going to do the bottom layer with this and the top layer with the silk, and I like the sheen better. So the rest I'm doing bottom padding DMC, top layer silk, unless there's a really super good reason not to. But I'm just thinking it's going to save me cost. It's going to look beautiful, and the DMC is plump, a little plumper than the silk. So it's, as the padding, it's going to plump it up a little bit more. So the red is DMC top and bottom. The gold, the green, and the white are DMC on the bottom, silk on the top. Let me know your thoughts on that. I get really close. And then I'm going to tilt it. Let me see if I can tilt it so you can see the padding. I don't know if you can. But I love how this is looking. So I'll probably work on this some more today. And I do loosen these every time when I'm finished for the day, because you don't want to keep that tension. Yeah, and I told you it was on cedar plank. So I worked on Mary Carter several days. So that's my thought about padded satin stitch. Let me know. Let me know your thoughts on that. I don't know. It might be a great idea. It might be terrible, but that's why some of these are on tags because those were the colors I was using for padding, and all of these eventually will get on tags so I can do the stand stitch. So that's what I worked on. Okay, we're done with that. Let me show you a little bit of haul. I did start one thing and I pulled it out. Actually, I started it before the last FlossTube, but it's from the Hobby House Spring Mystery Box. And I don't think everyone has theirs yet, so I don't want to spoil it. So I'm not showing it this time. I'm going to set it aside. I'll show it next time. I do want to show something else, and of course it's on the floor now, so I'll show you with something else. I bought this, and I've showed it before, but I've been using it exclusively for Seasons in the Garden, which is now on the very bottom, which anyway, it's a magnifying dome that I bought at a needlepoint shop. I know shops use it because they can set it on linen, and some of them will have a gauge where you can count. This does not, but what this does, I can do it on this, is I can set it. Let's say it's a chart and I really need to see, and there's a spot on Mary Carter that it's offset. And by setting this on the chart, maybe I can show that, it helped me determine, oh, that's offset. That's why when I'm counting it, I was having a little trouble. Let me see if I can, I don't want to show the whole chart. Okay, I'm just going to show a corner. All right. See how that enlarges it? So I could look at it and go, oh, okay, I see what's happening. Same thing, Seasons in the Garden, a lot of specialty stitches. I can lay it right on the linen and see what's happening. Like, okay, I get it. I see what's happening. You know, was I correct where I put it? Yes. Do I need to fix it? Yes, I can see that. All right. Let's see if I can. I'm sorry, it's taken a minute. There. So it highly magnifies it. I have this right next to me in a drawer that I can pull right out. And when I bought it, I thought, I think I'll use that. I've used it a lot, so I wanted to mention that. I've used it on charts. I've used it on the linen just to double check. And some of the older hand-drawn charts, game changer, because you can lay it on there. So wanted to mention that. I have just the tiniest bit of haul because I did purchase the Millennium Frame, so kind of, and I'm looking at all of my stash and whips and thinking, yeah, let's just shop from the stash. Someone did ask me if it bothered me to have so many whips. Sometimes it does, and I will go through, and I've pulled a couple that was like, I'm never coming back to this. But most of the time, I tend to focus on 4 or 5 things in my stitching between floss tubes. So the other ones are waiting their turn, and just like Ann Campion, I hadn't worked on her probably since last fall, and I just felt the need to pull her out, and I worked on her quite a bit and got probably another third done. So for me, that's the way I do it. So at the virtual event, Midsummer Night Dream, I know that's not maybe the right topic. Anyway, there was a store you could purchase things, and I saw this. This is the only animal cracker I have. Well, I'm sure that's going to change, but I saw this, and it's Dr. Raven, and it's a bunny with one of the plague masks, and look at the little lamp. Let me show you. I just thought that was so cute, especially for Halloween. So I did pick that up. And then I watched The Attic, their FlossTube. And Amy of Mrs. Flossie is working on charting. If any of you have been at The Attic, you've seen the chalkboard that's by the door. Amy did that. So she's charting it. So I've ordered the chart. It won't be ready till maybe toward the end of this month, maybe next month. It's going to be a little bit before it's ready because she's working on it right now. But I did get, I decided to do 30, well, I've got 32 and 36 count. It's chalkboard. So I did get some gray linen, and I'm not sure what count I want to do yet. So I got some 32 and some 36. So this is 32 charcoal gray Lugana. And I got two different Jinky dyes. This one is, believe it or not, lemon sherbet. But it looks to me like white chalk. And I also got natural. That's the lemon sherbet. That's the natural. And then I also picked up some Zweigart Magical Gray in 36 count. So I'll wait till I get the chart and then decide. Kind of like that on there. Anyway, I'll decide once I see the chart. But I went ahead and got those, the linen and the floss, so I'm all set when the chart comes out. And then the only other thing that I got is from Pawprint Patchwork. It's a Dorcas Hayes thread bag made from the Dorcas Haynes tea towel. Dorcas Haynes is the scarlet letter. And I also bought the project bag. So I've moved all of the stuff into this. So Dorcas is in her project bag. And as I mentioned before, I don't store my linen, my whip linen in the bags. I have them draped over a wire. It's a padded with cotton batting wire holder that's meant for something else, a display banner, but it's about that big. So in one of the videos I'll show you, but everything's draped there, so it's not creased and it's just resting. Just like my quilts that I would use for my classes and lectures, they were never folded. They were laid over a table, or if we had a bedroom with a spare bed, they were all stacked up on the bed flat. So they weren't creased. And with quilts, when you put it in a suitcase or storage and you fold it and compress it, especially if it's 100% cotton batting, those creases are hard to get out. So for me, I thought with the linen, I'm just going to let it rest. That way it's not creased and folded. But that's just, again, coming from the quilt world, that's what I was thinking. So last time I couldn't find my floss. It was in the bag. So this is the tag for where I got the bag, and I'll link to Val's Etsy store. So the floss now are all together. They were in the other bag. I just didn't see them. So there's my flosses, and I have DMC for that too, but I'm using the silk. So these are the different silks I'm using. So that's the other thing I purchased. And I will show you Dorcas. I haven't worked on her, and I showed you her last time, but here she is. After doing the satin stitches for Mary Carter, I think I'll come back and do the more satin stitches on this. So I'm kind of excited about that. My satin stitching has improved, so from what I did last time. It wasn't bad last time, it's better now. So it's just practice. So if there's something you worked on and you thought this is really hard and you weren't enjoying it and you set it aside, go back to it. Your skills probably have improved, where now it's like, oh, this is easy, this is fine, you know. So, all right, let me see if that's all. I would say that in my quilt classes too. If there's something that's hard, just set it aside, because as you keep going and trying new things, your skills will improve. This goes along with what's coming up for us. We're going on a big bucket list trip. So we're going to be gone a while. Well, you know, it's not like months, it's a couple of weeks, maybe almost 3. But anyway, it's going to be a driving trip. And I know if we're going to be gone 2.5, 3 weeks, oh, it's going to be hard not to stitch. So I decided that I was going to work on this by the Sampler Company, New England. I think it's the New England Sampler. There's a lot of fill-in. So I decided that I would get some Aida. And I just started it, so it's kind of wrinkled. And I haven't decided, am I going to use a hoop? A friend of mine's going to let me borrow her Nerge hoop and see if I like that. 'Cause I did this in hand, and I didn't like how wadded up it was. So I've just started it. And then my friend Gail was working on something that she was using 40 count Aida and Vintage Country Mocha, and I really liked how that looked. So I got that, and then I was showing them at the last little stitch group, and some of the colors are going to be too close. So I think I'm just going to go back to what I've got here. So that I'm going to take in the car, and I'm hoping, this is either 18 or 20, I'm hoping that I can, do this, especially if I do some of the letters now and save, or like at the night when we're at the hotel, I can work on the letters and then in the car work on the fill-in. That's the plan. We'll see what happens. But that does go back to, I'm not sure when I'll be back because we have a couple weeks before we leave, and I've got a lot to do before we leave. Then we'll be gone for a while. And then when we get back, we have some other exciting stuff possibly happening. We'll see. So it might be the end of September before I come back to you. I don't know. I also might tape my setup, my stitching room setup, my stitching setup, and share that with you and set it to release while I'm gone, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It's got a lot to do before we go, so we'll see. Just checking my notes here to see if I've covered everything I was going to talk to you about. I think so. So I want to thank you for joining me. I wasn't sure I had enough to share with you today, but I guess I did. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope that I held things up enough for you to see. And for those of you that are returning, again, thank you. Thank you again for all the sweet notes and comments and support with Benji. And, you know, if you like the channel, subscribe to it or give it a thumbs up. Love your comments. Hopefully I didn't miss any last time. I saw 2 that I hadn't responded to as I was going through. So I thought, how did I miss those? Because I'm supposed to get notifications. I don't know. But I think that's it. I'm sitting in this chair. The back of this chair makes me look like I'm a hunchback or like my thing is messed up. I don't know. Anyway, all right. I'm dissolving into just rambling now. So I will see you when I see you. Could be September. Could be I'll drop a video while we're gone that I film ahead of time. Anyway, thank you, everyone. And I will see you next time. Happy stitching.